welcome everyone to the August 14th Utilities Meeting, 10:30 a.m. today. This is our first agenda item.
So the McCormick Communities Water Sewer Development Agreement update. There was a meeting with the city attorney and staff Friday, and there'll be a follow-up meeting today, Monday.
So I think we're getting closer. I mean, this is complex, and it's whether the nuts and bolts of it are, whether it's a reimbursement or a credit. And you know, we prefer credit, they prefer reimbursement, and you know, we've got to get the best deal we can for the city. I think, I know, but on the other hand, we also need this infrastructure. We're buying our water from Bremerton. The sewer stations are scheduled for rebuild, and we can get the developer to do those sooner than we planned. I think we've got to find a way to reimburse or credit them for the portion that was our need. There's a portion of this that's our need, and there's a portion that's their need, and you know, it's separating the two and figuring out how to reimburse or credit for that. So
I like
the accurate.
That's kind of cool.
Is that your new machine?
And then boss, does the machine do it?
Oh, yeah, it's the new.
The medalist staples.
Ah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, the boss.
Well, for the things you notice, I mean, yeah.
Oh, did you try taking it right yet?
Yeah. And then putting it back together.
No, putting it back together, taking it apart.
Oh, very
Um,
and you're just gonna hammer it out today?
Well, we're out another meeting, and we had this interim agreement that's in your packet, and we were telling them all along, this isn't the path you want to travel. And finally, it was a week ago, they came to the conclusion, oh, we don't want to do this. And I know, we've been telling you that all along, because this rebuilds with the wrong style of pumps that the new station gets. They spend a lot of money and get a very limited add in capacity. And so their next concern was related to how fast we could turn around the approval of their designs. And we've got our consultant committed to that if they meet the date, we'll get it turned around in a couple of weeks. They've got one at the county that's been going on for months, and they said we can't, you know, have this review. I said, well, you guys, the key is we'll turn around in a couple of weeks. If it's a good design, it'll get approved. If it's not, we'll turn around something with 100 comments and corrections that in 2 weeks that you'll have to fix. So hopefully they give us good drawings. They've got some other permits they need to apply for. Have they done that?
They're in the process.
Okay.
We've got a pre-application meeting with them on Thursday.
Okay.
So they're on target to submit their full packet on September 5th.
Which SEPA takes about 6 weeks, so it could be.
They're hoping to get SEPA in a couple of weeks before, so that they could concurrently.
Yeah. So possibly in 2 months, we could have, next 2 months we could cut in. That's why this reimbursement or credit agreement is so important, is I don't think they nor the city wants to be in a situation where they're putting $3 or $4 million into our facilities and we don't know how we're going to pay them back for the investment that they're making into our facilities.
So that's the amount that they want as a credit or reimbursement?
Well, it would be,
That would be a good-
no, it's, well, on the wells, 12.
Yeah, the water side, it'll be
12.
12, and the sewer side's
On
about
the-
4.5.
Yeah, so at $4.5 million,
But this is an interim.
this is interim, which I don't believe is gonna go anywhere. So, but Fred, you have to remember that it's $4.5 million, but 60% of it is our need and 40%, and that was, I mean, that's roughly, it's 65 and 35, I think, is the percentages. We only need to, we need to reimburse them for our portion, which is the 62%, 2/3 of it. So they would get the connection fees over time to pay them back. Of course, they'd like us to write them a check, but we shouldn't do that. We'll pay them for the connection fees. The tougher one is the water system at 12 million, that's 60% their need, and how long it would take to pay them back with our connection fee. But we need the water, and we need the reservoir, we need the well. It benefits both sides to get that. Now, we wrote a check, was it 90,000 this month for water purchase for Bremerton? Just for 1 month, we're gonna be at $1 million in water purchase this year. You'll see a budget amendment because of the 2 wells going down.
Are we at least
budgeted-
breaking even with that? I mean, what we charge our
No.
customers
No.
for, so
we're
we're subsidizing water basically.
absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we don't have well 13 online, and well 8 and well 7 went down. Well 8's back online, well 7, we're working on getting a new pump for it. That was the one down here on Bend of the Boulevard. That
What are we getting back for what we've put?
whatever our rate is, I mean,
20%.
we haven't even done that math, Fred. We have to buy water at retail rate from Bremerton because we need it.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why this agreement's so important, is we need source. We lack source, in particular in the summer months.
And well 7's gonna be down for a while. That's a long lead time. They don't make, when you go to get a well pump or motor, they don't make them until you order them, because they can't sit around, the bearings go bad, so it's, you know.
They gotta build the pump for us. So, it couldn't have happened at a worse
Oh
time.
my gosh.
You know, I mean, we were having record
In the middle of the
dry
summer.
days, and we lost a well.
I guess we could do like City of Seattle does, we turn off everybody's irrigation.
Well, I mean, we could choose to
Or
make,
conserve, do we want people to conserve? I mean, it's not really a lack of water, it's a financial thing, right?
yes.
Right, I mean,
Bremerton
has a certain.
they have the water.
Well, they've got a
They just
limit
not-
though.
Huh?
They've got a limit in the agreement on how much.
They can only give us so
sell.
much.
No, they have a minimum.
Oh, they have the minimum.
They have a minimum.
That's right, they have a minimum.
Yeah, I mean, we're not paying, you know, if it's our water, it's just the cost to pump it out of the ground, and the money we spent to drill the well. We're buying it at retail rates from Bremerton, and we're not marking it up.
Yeah.
You know, when we
It's
have
almost
our,
like,
we
is
have
it
our
worth
own.
it to have all this development if we're paying more for water than we're bringing in other fees?
We've got an agreement that will provide water, but that well is gonna get built. It's whether it's us building it in the next 5 to 7 years, and that timeline doesn't appear to be fast enough for them. Or do we let them do it for us and then reimburse them or credit them for doing what we've got an agreement that we said that we're gonna serve that area and that we're gonna provide water to it. It's just, the answer is when. And I think it benefits us sooner versus later
Yeah, if we
to
can.
provide that water, because we lack source, and we're buying it downtown and out in the McCormick area from Bremerton right now because we lack source.
Okay, so we kind of jumped into other items that we'll catch back up on those. So, McCormick Communities, so again, the updates are that we have meeting Friday, meeting today to talk about the overreaching, and then this interim agreement may or may not be needed, right?
Right, and I don't believe that they're gonna pursue it. They really just need, you know, we need to figure out the bigger picture before.
So they may ask us to approve this agreement. I'd be surprised if they built it. They'd be foolish, but it doesn't hurt us for them to do this.
Right.
And may move forward, but last I'd heard that we don't think it makes financials, but that's their business
We told them.
problem, not us,
they didn't.
not ours.
They kind of pushed it. Okay, the next item is an update on the boiler system. So we know that we had the Ecotype review in 16 of the energy audit. We've kind of gone back and forth. We had Hermanson then also look at our boilers. Where we're at right now, I think, is that the first thing we're going to do is go out for an RFP, even though there's only one company, Mechanical Sales out of Seattle, to just do a rehab of the boilers. So we'll do that this year, similar to what.
Do we do that under Pacific's contract, or are we gonna do that work ourselves? Because they need to coordinate their effort. I mean, they don't,
We could do it as a change order in Pacific. It'd be cleaner where we ask for that and we make it very specific that they have to use a certified.
yes, I think that'd be better, and that way if there's coordination that
Yeah.
needs to happen with the guy servicing it and the guy maintaining it.
Okay, well, we can pursue that. I'll talk to Pacific.
But we need somebody that's certified in those boilers doing that.
Okay, I'll call Ben and I'll make sure he knows that Mechanical Sales out of Seattle is the only company that's currently certified in this region to do that.
For those boilers.
For the boiler rehab. And so that's similar to what Randy Screws talked about out at the treatment plant. They went through and they cleaned and scrubbed and flushed and all that. So we'll do that first. Then we'll go in and then look at Pacific Air, looking at their control systems, making adjustments to kind of just keep things going. Then we're going to go back out for an advertisement overreaching the whole city hall systems for an assessment and actual repairs.
The energy audit identified a whole bunch of components in our central air system that either aren't there or not functioning. There's coils and things. So like Janine's office to my office, the heat can be running in my office and the AC's on in her office. It shouldn't be. You know, so with the system's fighting itself, it's not efficient.
Right.
So we need to, they said we'd spend about 25,000 having, replacing controls, switches, components within the system. To make
The
it
issue is
work
going to
better.
be how do we do that? Because it's a meshing of, there's a design element where somebody goes through everything and identifies, okay, this pump motor's out, this controller's not working, this ATU unit's bad. Or do we do it as almost a design build where you get somebody doing the work? The problem with that is it's not very defined. It's like a carte blanche. So we've really got to look at how that piece looks. We may end up doing some sort of a design to then go out to bid. So more to come on that.
How did we get so screwed up? Was it put in that way, or was it put in incrementally? And
No, it was it's a 17-year-old system. It was never commissioned. So even the system that we have now, that's been here for 9 years, the 9 years I've been here, is different from what was originally installed. Because what they had originally was some system that was supposedly had a central unit for controls using Fortran, or I don't know what. It was probably the end of that era technology that we had. Then when I came in, the system was really fighting itself. And then we had a local guy that we'd been paying, that he wasn't even maintaining the system. So then we went out broader. Pacific at least stepped up and came up with this Mac ProWeb
We're
computer-based
a lot
system.
better off than we were, but that was one of the things the energy identified was our controls and our systems for this heating system aren't what they need to be.
Heating and cooling.
Heating and cooling, and we need to invest some money into it, and it'll pay for itself because in our energy bills.
Right, we're fighting. Of course, it doesn't help that people don't have human beings, apparently, especially in this building, don't seem to have a very good tolerance for hot or cold.
It's primarily your employee though.
Well, that's one on that one end, but there's other people on the other end that are just as bad. So, anyway, so that's kind of what we're looking at there. That'll be a more to come.
Another thing we're going to add to the budget amendments too that should help this the whole south facing on the second floor. I'm trying to get a proposal for, the building's 18 years old and the window blinds are falling apart. I think we're gonna go to roller shades, which will block out UV and block out heat. It won't be inexpensive. And we're talking all the offices on my floor to the conference room and Mark's office
And Mike's probably.
and Mike's office.
The
So
south.
everything that's facing this south,
Southwest.
southwest, you know, and gets the setting sun. I mean, many times you can't, your computer screen can't,
Visible, yeah.
yeah, visible
Our
because this
houses
is,
know this.
yeah.
We all have the same sun.
Yeah.
That's why I have lots of trees on my south side, south and west.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Okay, the next item is just let you know that we do have the request for qualifications that will go out, looking at publishing it this week. So I gotta get with Cindy to get it in the Independent this Friday. We need to send it over tomorrow.
Apples Creek.
Yeah. And so this is a full design and permitting to get the ad ready. So capital.
We've been sitting on our stormwater money, shopping for grants for this culvert, the downtown basin, and there was one other one we were trying to.
Arnold?
And Arnold, yeah, I guess.
Well, this is Arnold.
So anyway,
It
we
was
haven't hit any grants. We've got a considerable amount of money in the stormwater utility. The pathway's coming. We're gonna at least do the design in-house and pay for it with our stormwater utility. Continue to try to get grants, but last thing we want to do is build the pathway and come back 3 years later to tear the pathway up because we finally got the grant for the box culvert that's underneath it, that's wooden and not in good shape.
And it's not, and the box culvert is only a part of the issue. To me, the bigger issue is the utilities. We've got a 16-inch sewer line that's
Force main.
right at extreme high water. Is that pipe submerged or is it right at?
It's right at, yeah, you can see the rust line.
Yeah, it's so. Plus, we have to. So I think what we're going to end up with is another thing I can think of is an airplane wing, a laminar flow encapsulation. So we got the existing force main, and then we're going to put another piece of ductile pipe for the future force main, and basically you would put it in you'd have to put it in sort of a wing so that when you get the pathway, water can flow above and below without creating turbulence. So, yeah, so that's going to be a big part of the design, is how do we, because we can't elevate those. We're not building a massive pump station on one side.
That
of
is
the
a
house.
force main though, so we ought to be able to elevate it. It's just shoving it through there.
Right, but
It's
we
not
don't-
gravity.
But we're not wanting to
Why would we?
rebuild the road.
Oh, we're not?
No.
That section of the road?
Yeah, we can't have like a 90-degree
Oh, you
up.
could raise the whole thing up?
It's pretty.
2 feet?
Yeah, but it's pretty shallow already.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I
it's-
didn't know that.
It's right there.
In fact, when we were doing the seawall,
18 inches.
remember we had to do those helical coil
Yeah, oh, I
springs?
remember, yeah.
Because that was a change in condition.
Now, could you go outside the box culvert and cut that off and switch to HDPE?
Again, it's how far, and that's part of the design. So we have two options. You either encapsulate it in a laminar flow corridor, or you go back far enough where you cut it. The issue there is you got an existing line that's in place. You know what you're saying is you're going to go under Annapolis Creek.
Or we shove it to the shoulder and it's shallow at the shoulders versus shallow in the
You could
roadway.
go under, or you could just put it on rollers underneath HDPE and just let it flow.
I think you'd end up having to go back far enough with a new pipe with a cutover and have it go under Annapolis and come up. Then you would, once you got that flowing, then you'd put another one next to it.
Right.
When is that work gonna be done?
Well, no, we're just doing the design, and we don't have to design this today.
We're designing it.
We're designing it on the spot here, but.
But how soon is that work gonna be?
We wanted
Next
to-
year?
We've
But
already
the
started the
path-
design this year.
Yeah, but I mean the actual work.
Well, the pathway's 2019 to 2020, and we want we want to coincide that work with the pathway so that we don't we only tear the road up once.
Right. So there'll be a model, this design needs to be far enough along so that we can go back when we do the final design for the pathway. Any adjustments
That'd be
need to be
nice.
part of that.
Most of it.
This-
Except for design.
This needs to
Yeah, well,
precede.
we already have the money for the pathway. The stormwater utility would pay for this culvert, the sewer
design.
utility, and the sewer utility would pay for its sewer line.
Right. So I think we've got the money to design and build everything. It's just getting it designed right now. So that's what we're going to the RFQ for. Next item, 2017 water system plan update discussion. I don't think we had anything in the package.
Just a picture.
No, this is the this is the Bay Street pump
Yeah.
station. Okay, I jumped ahead.
Yep.
So the Bay Street pump station, so this is just showing you, this is the Bay Ford reconstruction. So it's just showing you that this little tiny box here's the Bay Street Marina pump station. We're just showing that they're gonna do their new frontage improvements and still allow us an access for a city truck to park in there. And it'll be in a landscaped area rather than in the middle of the parking lot. So just really showing that we are in their reconstruction. We coordinated some ability. It's all in the right of way. Now, that's one thing that we really got to look at, because this road, it actually goes onto their property. We really need to get an easement. We need to follow.
One of the
up
things
on
I'm
this.
pushing hard on is
I think
PSC.
that was included in the comments.
He's doing,
Underground?
Yeah.
we would like to do a Schedule 74.
Well, it says proposed
He's putting
easement.
these nice new sidewalks in. We've got a
Yes.
once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to put those overhead power lines underneath the sidewalks.
It'd be marvelous if we could do that.
Yeah,
How
so
much is it? 3 million or?
that, no, I'm guessing, let's, $1 million. But it would go from Blackjack Creek to our,
And Marley, or
to the
the
Marley,
Bremerton.
because otherwise that
But there's that pole right there.
The pole will end up in the center of our pocket park
Yeah.
with all the guide wires supporting it, bisecting the pocket park, which that isn't what we want, a pocket park.
Right.
So, I mean, I would guess $1 million, because we're gonna have, and I'll bet we're 60-40 split?
Mhm.
So we got 40% of that, so $300,000 or $400,000.
Yeah, there's one additional wrinkle though, is coming down Rockwell.
Yeah.
They just did that tree wire program, so there is the line that comes down Rockwell. So there will be a pole, we're thinking, over by the bus stop in front of the Mart, or the Comfort Inn.
On the south side?
But there's enough
No,
right of way
north side.
on the east side of Rockwell, all those trees there by the condos. That Rockwell right of way actually goes quite a ways over. So they're thinking they can go to the one pole that's up by the entrance to the condos and just cut some brush back and angle it enough so that.
But why wouldn't they underground it from Rockwell, corner of Rockwell?
They won't underground it from that up the hill. I don't
But
think.
they set a pole down on the corner of Rockwell and Bay and went underneath the street.
Yeah, all I know is when I met with their people, they looked at putting a pole right there in front of the Comfort Inn by the.
Not
Bus
ideal,
stop.
but if we have to, we have to.
Anyway, so that's just at the sidebar. The water system plan. Oh, this is just. So on July
This is
11th,
just
why did I put?
We're not rebuilding the whole station though.
No, but we do have it budgeted this year to replace the pumps from Hydromatics to Von Choppers, because we have to get in there and unplug that quite frequently.
And then that's in the budget.
Yeah.
There was at one time, we did a pre-design that actually.
You had to shove it back for the other direction.
Right,
but
we
that-
were gonna change directions and put in a big wet well and actually not, see, right now, that stuff all pumps to the marina pump station.
Right.
And then the marina, we were gonna try to split the city and it turned out to be not a really good thing to do. Cause then we got two massive pump stations down on the waterfront rather than just managing one.
Okay, so we're just gonna put new pumps.
Lawn
and a new-
choppers.
And a new lid on it.
And control systems, I think there was, or we did upgrades to controls
Yeah,
last year.
and we're continuing to very slowly pick off those lift
Right.
stations.
The biggest thing is the clogging, the soft clogs and
Put flush in those things, Fred, whatever it is you're flushing.
your sheets
Adult
and your
diapers.
socks and stuff. And those Swiffers, I hate those
The
Swiffers.
Swiffers, yeah, we
Those things-
have
I think somebody's
Oh,
got
they're
this.
in there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they say,
They say
The-
they're
I mean,
saying they're
The
flushable?
wipes, they say they're flushable
None
and
of that stuff
biodegradable.
is.
No, they're not. They
You
just
can't
get down
even
to.
rip it apart, they just,
they
Yeah,
bind up on those pumps.
yeah, they get in the pump and then we got somebody down there at 2 a.m. tearing it apart.
Trying to get those things off it.
What if we told people would back up the system into their house if they use them? Is that one way to
it's not
educate?
true.
It's
It's
not
not-
true.
Yeah.
Well, we
One
told,
thing.
It might back up. into
well,
their
we've
house.
told the people.
We're
at
far enough up the
McCormick.
hill, that's not a problem.
We did have public meetings with McCormick saying.
That is true at McCormick. That was part of the step conversion problem when they had
It was all
a
the
step
soft
system.
clogs. Yeah.
It was the soft clogs.
We had to say, look, you gotta treat this as a septic system. Don't think it's connected to city sewer. I know you are, but it's not.
I wonder
So-
if we should try to have some kind
Education?
of outreach to all the
It's hard.
citizens here. It
Every
is-
time I'll see these packaging and it says disposable, flushable. I'm like, okay, we're not flushing or disposing any of this in our household, right?
Well, and part of the key is the Von choppers are a better pump and they won't have as many problems.
You can't plug a bond.
They're like having,
They've got cutting heads on there, and so.
like having piranha in your tank.
Or arborist.
It'll take it'll take
So don't put your hand down there.
Ugh.
it'll take a blanket and shoot it right through.
It'll be a Fargo moment.
Oh,
I often wonder how it gets disintegrated once you flush.
Well, it doesn't
doesn't.
right now.
It doesn't.
They've got a,
Well,
they've
I
got
don't use, but even your regular paper products, you think.
they've got a screen down there, if you ever wanna go see it.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. Then the grossest thing actually is not the brown stuff, it's the paper that was next to the brown stuff that you're like, ew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't,
No, it's interesting going on these
The
tours.
gross stuff is the arm and the leg that occasionally gets caught on the screen. You
Oh,
know.
that's.
That I haven't
oh,
seen.
Oh,
They have that at West Seattle all the time. It's a big
Okay.
treatment plant in West Seattle.
Brightwater.
Or not Brightwater, the one over by Shoal Shoal. What's that one? Something Point.
human.
But was it a surprise when they found it, or didn't somebody know that they lost their arm and notify them?
They
or-
find stuff on that. That's a big, huge rolling drum.
Yeah.
They took us down when I was going to Seattle U. It's that's West Point. West Point.
West.
Yeah, it's they pull all kinds of stuff off there that you don't even know about. Anyway, we digress.
We
again.
have digressed again.
Okay, water system plan update. So I put in the packet from July 11th because I was not sure why, because you approved this. I think it was just a reminder that you approved it, that they're working on the water system plan.
Well, and I think that it's because of other things that they're not working on right now. They've still got this going on.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so this is just an update to say council did approve the contract for the water system plan, which we talked about before, how that was going to get funded out of other water sewer dollars.
Right.
We were going to forego.
We're just taking a little bit out of the water main replacement program.
That's right. Remember the water main replacement. Anyway, so this is just kind of an update reminder.
Maybe it should have been in the packet.
It's just an FYI.
It's an FYI. They're working on it. Okay. Well 7. So
You talked about that we're ordering a new pump.
ordering a new pump. It has to be built. The pump died. It's worst time of the year. And we just got off of well 8, or just got well 8 going. So we're going to be buying Bremerton water. Well 8 update is The good news is when we put the new pump in, we saw a considerable reduction in yield. And at first we're thinking, oh great, we just spent all this money and we're only pumping 3/4 of what it used to pump. Turns out that the pump has a check valve that has a spring, heavy spring-loaded check valve, and it takes a while for that. Like the spring's very stiff from the factory, and it took a little bit of work, kind of like putting on a new belt. It takes a while to stretch that leather out a little bit. So once the pump worked against that check valve for a month or so, we steadily saw the flows come back up and we're up to where they should be. So at least we have well 8 back online. Now well 7's off, and we always knew we needed to get 10/13 on. So we're gonna have to buy water. The good news, I guess, is that we have an agreement with Bremerton, where before that old agreement on the wholesale water wasn't really an agreement. So even though it was painful to go through that process to get an officially recognized non-terminable agreement, and because now we're buying at retail and we have the minimum. If Bremerton came up right now and said we can't provide you water and this agreement doesn't obligate us, we're obligated by a certain amount. They could have shut us off today. In that place.
And Bremerton has plenty of water. I've talked with them, and we've actually seen that our stream gauge data for this summer, we're running streams higher than they were last year at this time. Because of the record rainfall that we had this winter, there's still a ton of water. So the Casad Dam is full.
So the well 13 update is just to let you know that even though we're on hold,
You guys should be familiar with that, the capital budget not getting approved
Yes.
has, well,
Delayed the,
yeah, our loan is part of that capital budget, and it wasn't reappropriated. We hope that after the election in November, that the legislature will take immediate action on a capital budget. So our well 13 project is on hold right now. We don't have we have a loan for $6 million. It's $6 million, right? But we can't access the funds because there's no budget authority at the state level for us to access those funds.
we've spent about 600,000 of.
Yeah. And this is a program that funds, this year it was funding 197 projects to the tune of like $287 million statewide. So the legislators.
We're in the boat with a lot of people.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
aware of the.
Yeah, it's a problem. They're aware of it, and until they take action, we're in limbo.
So I just got this email either Friday afternoon, so it wasn't in the packet, but there is a DWSRF suspension FAQ. So you can probably Google that, or I could forward that. It just talks about how long the suspension will remain in place until a full capital budget is enacted. Will the 24-month incentive period for project completion be extended? Yes. So it talks about,
Everyone has to buy their own bottled water?
yeah,
So this couldn't happen at a worse time for us. I mean, we need that well, and we have to sit and wait for the capital budget. We can't. If we spend any money, it's local dollars, so it would be reimbursable.
so literally the day before we were told the project was on hold, Thomas had just developed a schedule for the well 13 drilling and had established some targets, and
We were going, so we got the call on a Friday. Tuesday of the next week, we were going to add for drillers. So it was literally right before we were gonna try and bring somebody in here to drill the hole.
yeah.
So, and there's a lot of people, that are frustrated and in that boat, and there's a lot of organizations that are much bigger than us that their lobbyists are working on it. So, we'll see, but what I'm hearing from both Connie and from various other people is that, don't expect a fix in the next couple of months.
No, they're
Because-
talking 6 months.
I met with Brianna and about this, and the soonest this is gonna get fixed is January, and it could be we have a short session coming up. You know, probably the worst case scenario is, we hope is, next summer. That, you know, the two sides can come together on a capital budget. Until we get a capital budget, that we don't have any authority.
Jan, Jesse, and Michelle are coming September 21st to a meeting to talk about some of this.
At City Hall or?
No.
Oh.
A separate group, so. it'll be-
They're very aware of it.
Yeah.
This is a much bigger issue than Port Orchard, 6 million, as Thomas spoke, and that number he talked, the 200 million, is just, that's even just a sliver of this.
That's just the DWS.
We don't want to be the lightning rod in this issue. We've really taken we've made our delegation aware of the issue, our lobbyist is aware of it, and we really just need to,
Right.
wait until this is resolved.
So can anything further be done, or you're just at a standstill?
We sent a letter requesting,
The extension.
putting us on official request that we will be requesting extension of time.
So-
The problem with moving forward, even if we had funds to do part of it in-house, is there's no authority in the SRF program to retroactively
Right.
refund. And so in order to get retro,
Yes, yes.
it has to be written into the,
Which would be part of the next capital budget.
which is
So,
part- and we've been told that there's a significant chance that it won't be written into it, meaning it's paused, and if you choose to do any work, you're incurring that. So you can pay.
Here's where, if we'd have gone to bid and awarded the contract to the well driller, we would have had to pay for this, because otherwise,
Separately.
we would have reached the contract with them, we would have needed to move forward. Fortunately, we were in the process of going to bid on this stuff and hadn't awarded any contracts. So it's a major inconvenience, we need the water, but at least we didn't have there's a community in Eastern Washington that's in the middle of drilling their well.
And they can't stop.
They can't stop.
They'd be in breach of contract.
They breached the contract with the well driller. So
Well,
they're gonna have to
also-
pay for that with local money and not be reimbursed.
Right, the cost of that.
Would cities be then able to sue?
Yes. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, we're just buying more water from
In
Bremerton.
the meantime, we're buying more water from
Okay.
Bremerton until we get
Okay.
so this is another piece of why the agreement with McCormick Woods is so important, and an intertie between the two halves of the city is, very important to our long-term future.
So I guess that means that all of the water, even the ones that Cormac is getting from Bremerton, will be fluoridated because their Bremerton water is not.
Eventually.
Is not.
Right.
When
So
we
all
intertie the
city
two,
water-
when we intertie the two systems, yes,
Then
you're
it will
you're
Right,
right.
be.
fluoridated. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a conversation for the future, whether we
Well,
fluorinate or
it
not
would
to
make
fluorinate.
sense
Well,
that it's all one.
We have an ordinance that says we do.
One quality
No,
or
no.
So
another.
unless we
One
change
state.
something,
Yeah.
we
We're
will.
required to do that.
It'd be an FYI.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, and we did remember we did
Yes,
the survey.
yes, we did that official survey.
Well,
And.
online survey.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. And actually, the science is there to support it. There's
did-
some
we did the survey.
old information that came forward that
Yeah.
wasn't even relevant.
So
That's for another day.
Yes,
Speaking
it
of
is.
surveys, do we have any preliminary results on the golf cart?
I am sworn to secrecy.
How many responses have there been?
15
Okay.
so far. So we're getting,
Okay.
we went up Friday.
Is there a deadline?
Yes, before the lunchtime, before the council meeting next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's gone out to Home Builders Association,
Homeowners.
I mean homeowners.
HOA.
Homeowners, yes.
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 Yeah. There was concern that people's, names and addresses become or a public record, part of a public records
Through the
request.
survey?
Yeah, because,
It's not on the survey.
no, it's not.
Oh.
That was the
1.8%.
request, remember?
You had to put your address.
You had to put your
in.
name in,
Meeting, I was
yeah,
like-
you had to,
Yeah.
that was the request from
Okay.
them, that they wanted to make sure only.
Oh, they want to verify.
They
Okay.
wanted us to verify that people voting were residents from McCormick Woods.
All right.
Okay.
So
sorry.
we're at next meeting, right?
Yep.
September 18th, works for everybody, and that's back to 9:30?
Yes, normal time.
Okay.
I just want to thank you guys for speaking with Waste Management about the yard waste collecting, because they had skipped a couple of times, and their customer service is very uneven. They blame it on the consumer that you didn't leave your bin out.
Right.
And I reached out and found out that this isn't just me, it's people like on West Street, on Portland Street, all over the city. And what worried me is they're collecting these fees. I know they're not very much, and not providing a service.
Yeah, and their customer service has changed. They used to be able to just call up. What's her
Premier
name?
disposal.
Yeah, and Rose, you used to be able to call Rose and say, hey, we got a thing. And now they have a municipal, like, relations department, and they're out of Oregon. And so you're talking to somebody in Oregon about a can on West Street.
What time? is
Yeah.
the meeting next?
So,
But
9:30?
after you guys got involved,
Yeah.
they have been collecting very consistently since then.
good.
Well, the good news is that the new local manager, general manager, Joey,
It's pretty good.
lives here. He
Ah.
works out. He works. I see him run every afternoon at a CrossFit.
Oh, that helps, yeah.
Well, he's connected to the community, so
Good.
it's been very nice to have somebody that isn't just here on temporary assignment as the district manager, somebody that lives in the community.
I was annoyed that I had to reach out to you to get a good resolution, but you're doing that really helps.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
Okay,
So
so,
you adjourn at 11:15?
okay, I had
Sounds good.
11:13, but I'll change it to 11:15.
All right.
Okay, thank you.